other drivers. Kunene says most of the commuters that were left without transport are scholars. The MMC says one of the demands made by the striking workers is the reinstatement of former employees who were fired for stealing from the company. Meanwhile, Samu says this is not a strike but a call for Metrobus to address the grievances of the workers. Kunene says he's engaging with the city's mayor Kabelo Kwamanda and city manager Floyd Brink on the matter. Gloria Mutsuiri, Eyewitness News.
And the lawyer representing the man allegedly behind the Usindiso building fire has confirmed to Eyewitness News that the accused will no longer visit the scene of the blaze today. 30-year-old Stembiso Mdlalose confessed to the National Prosecuting Authority last week that he started the fire that killed 76 people 5 months ago. Alpha Ramushwana has more.
Less than an hour after Stembiso Mdlalose appeared in the Johannesburg Central Magistrates Court today, police fence was spotted near the Usindiso building. This after the NPA requested the investigating officers to take the accused to the scene of the fire to demonstrate how the massive inferno started. However, Mdlalose's legal representative, Dumisani Mabunda, says police didn't explain further on their decision to stop his visit to what used to be his home since January 2022.
Yeah, decision was made after the appearance. He was taken to the police station, and after further deliberations, and the police decided not to take him for the pointing out.
Meanwhile, Metro Police officers are stationed outside the building to prevent illegal occupations. Alpha Ramushwana, Eyewitness News in Marshalltown.
A fine Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, becoming partly cloudy with isolated showers. Both Joburg and Vereeniging dropping to an overnight low of 15 degrees, peaking at 27, Pretoria 16 and 29. Lerato Hufela, Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News on 947. For more, click ewn.co.za.
#MSW. You may begin to feel anxious or excited. Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored. High-dosage administration can cause adverse reactions. And most importantly, independent in mind and execution. This is a normal response. Are you ready?
4 unique platforms: Rise FM, Sowetan Live, Vuma FM, and of course, we'll then introduce 947, which is where we are broadcasting from as we speak.
Rob, first I just want to congratulate you for making yet another broadcasting history with the show moving on to the 4th platform. And for me, that says a lot about you and Rob. In a very quiet transfer window, the news that broke that the show will be moving into the 4th platform will, for me, go down as the greatest news that have been shared in this transfer window.
Thank you for making us the greatest transfer.
Welcome to the good life.
When Gavin Hunt is always hunting, believe it, and we've hunted him down again. Coach Gavin Hunt, good to see you, sir.
Hello, Rob, how are you?
I'm as strong as can be.
Jeez, fancy place you got here, mate. Jeez, like it.
Yeah. Welcome to the good life.
Yeah, well,
Chalk and cheese, huh?
Yeah, no, jeez, like you've come a long way, Rob.
Thanks, Gav. Thanks, Gav. Welcome to the family.
I'm proud of you.
Hey.
It's our anniversary.
A formal welcome to Mr. Tim Sugazi. I think the last time you saw us, we were under the bridge in Katlehong. Welcome to the bright lights, sir.
This is unprecedented. You have stepped on many toes, as many would feel, but then those who know the truth behind the truth really would always believe in your work, follow you, and this kind of accomplishment doesn't come easy. It is not everyone. Personally, I've never seen one show in 4 platforms and 1 hit.
It's our anniversary.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Not just a brand new month, but also a first anniversary for #MSW on 947. And a big thanks for walking this journey with us. And we say thank you to all the major shareholders, wherever you are around the country, the continent, or the world. This is for you. Looking forward to a great show. Do send us your WhatsApp voice notes in the year that's been 060-708-0484. 060-708-0484. Do share with us some of your highlights, your lowlights, your memories, whatever it is. We are here for you. You know what? Coming through the entire day, people have been saying, is it true? Is it true? Is it just a rumor? Or can we believe it? It is a major headline right around the world. and that has to do with Formula One. And that is why I'm bringing on board right now somebody who's got all the knowledge from the UK, Racing News 365 lead editor, F1 journalist Ewan Gale, to tell me about the confirmation of what has been largely a rumor the entire day. Ewan, thank you so much for your time. Good evening. Lewis Hamilton, what has happened?
Good evening, Rob. It's nice to be back. What's happened is quite a barnstormer of a bit of news, really. I think it's the type of news that F1 fans around the world have hoped would happen through his career. Never thought it would, especially with what he's been saying at Mercedes the last few years. But it looks as if Lewis Hamilton's going to be driving a Ferrari next season, or from next season as well, for a couple of years at least. It really took everyone by surprise this morning when it came through UK time at least. And yeah, it looks like Hamilton's going to switch the black Mercedes for a red Ferrari.
What's brought us to this? I hear you, Ewan. He has been saying a couple of things about Mercedes and maybe just a lack of oomph for past couple of seasons. But for us to be where we are today on the very first day of February 2024, and as football fans, we say the close of the transfer window, and boom, he's gone.
Yeah, it like I said, it's come out of the blue a little bit. Now, it's worth noting that since he's come into Mercedes, really, there's been rumours about Lewis going to Ferrari. Ferrari and F1 are sort of synonymous names with each other. It's like talking about Messi and Ronaldo when you talk about soccer, right? So, Ferrari is the team, the romantic team that if you're a good driver in F1, you want to drive for Ferrari. That doesn't matter who you're associated with. So the rumours have always been there, even as late as last season, just before Lewis signed a new 2-year contract with Mercedes. The rumours were there that he'd been talking to John Elkann, who is the Ferrari chairman, and who has always been an admirer of Lewis Hamilton. So the rumours were there. But Lewis had always said, he was Mercedes for life from now on. He's been with Mercedes since he met Ron Dennis, who was the then McLaren Supremo back in the late 90s when he was just a child. So he's been Mercedes all his life, and he said, I am with Mercedes for life. We are going to battle through these hard moments together. But the reality is that he's a competitor. He wants to win an 8th world title, which would be a record-breaking achievement in Formula One to surpass Michael Schumacher, who won 5 of his titles with Ferrari. And for Lewis, I think looking at the way the last 2 seasons have gone, no wins. The first 2 seasons in his career, he hasn't won a single race. And that's happened 2 years on the trot now. So does he look at Mercedes and think, maybe they're not the team that can carry me to that 8th world title? Look, he knows Mercedes better than anyone, so he's the only person who's in that position to tell. What it asks the question of us from the outside is, what does he know about Mercedes' next car, which will be launched in just a couple of weeks, that we don't? Is it going to be competitive? Is it not going to be competitive? Because at the moment, from the outside in, we're all looking at it thinking exactly the same as what happened 11 years ago when he joined Mercedes, which is you're getting prepared for the new regulations which come in, incidentally, in 2026. And if that's where he thinks he can win the title, then he's got to go.
And the description, I think it was end of the year, Ewan, 2023, Toto Wolff describing how catching Red Bull would be like climbing Mount Everest, given just how far Mercedes and Ferrari were behind the runaway champions. And I know you've covered that in your publication as well. Take us through that thought pattern and what that would have done to somebody as competitive as Lewis Hamilton.
It would have made him at least assess what was going on around him. Now, you have a look at if he did want to move, what seats would be available, right? You have a look at where Mercedes is at the current moment. It's got a massive step with its new car that it needs to make. As Toto said, as you rightly pointed out there, it's like climbing Everest. At least for Ferrari, you have a look at their performances, especially in the second half of last season. They were rapidly catching Mercedes towards the end of the season. Had it not been for a few issues at the start of the season, Ferrari would have been second in the team's championship behind Red Bull. And if you have a look at qualifying especially, Charles Leclerc, who, if he makes this move. It looks likely that he's going to. The reports are that he's been in the factory with Toto Wolff to address the Mercedes team that he will be leaving. Alongside Leclerc. Leclerc was getting plenty of pole positions last season and was only being overturned in the race really by Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. The other thing that Lewis has to look at is McLaren. McLaren have made great strides. They're going into a podium fighting position now. But both of their drivers are locked in. Lando Norris only last week, as was Charles Leclerc actually, announcing a new contract, which takes him well into the future. Oscar Piastri had already signed a new contract at McLaren last season as well. So if you're looking at the big four teams, Red Bull's out of the question for Lewis. Mercedes, he could stay where he is, but he probably knows that they've got too far to climb. At least with Ferrari, they had some sign of progression at the end of last season that might make him think, that's where I need to be to achieve my goals. And like I said, with the new regulations coming in 2026, maybe Fred Vasseur, who's a team principal at Ferrari, has been able to give Lewis some form of insight into how Ferrari are preparing for those regulation changes, is major regulation changes for the engines specifically. That will also bring in some changes to the chassis. But if Ferrari have got that engine ready and raring to go like Mercedes did 11 years ago when Hamilton joined, that might be enough to sway his decision. Worth pointing out as well, by the way, Fred Vasseur was his team boss when he was in the lower formula. So there's that connection already.
Sure. I think we're trying to connect the dots here. I mean, you've mentioned everything from the chairman of Ferrari, John Alcombe, being a big admirer of Lewis Hamilton, to his dismay and disappointment. I think it was in Abu Dhabi, the Mercedes, when they were committing that revolution of its W15 concept. So it's a whole combo of issues. Yes, the news has been out. When are we expecting you to get an official word or from Lewis Hamilton? Maybe it might have happened while we've been on air and I'm not aware. When are we expecting that to happen?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say, to be completely honest with you. I think we're expecting, at least by the end of the week. What we don't know yet, to be completely honest, is what stage of contract talks Lewis and his representatives are with Ferrari. Now, is it that it's all signed and ready to go, or is it like a deal in principle? So we're expecting end of the week. Potentially, but like I said, reports from the UK are that he has been in the Brackley factory with team principal Toto Wolff to tell the team that he will be leaving at the end of the season. So I think we can be pretty decisive in explaining that that's going to happen, and then we're just waiting for the Ferrari announcement to come from that. It's a big move, Rob. It's a really big move, and especially when you have a look at off-track as well, all the initiatives that Lewis has with Mercedes, Ignite, Accelerate 25. He's been at the forefront of bringing awareness to equality and inclusivity and diversity into Formula One, but especially with Mercedes, all of these off-track initiatives. It'll be interesting to see what happens to those now, because they're immensely important, but also can Ferrari give him that same freedom?
Ewan, I know that you're a big racing fan, and I also just love to get your personal opinion about it. I think a lot has been said. It's a trending story worldwide right now, and that's given the popularity of the sport as well. And for you as an observer, I mean, here is what was a kid a couple of years ago. He's going to be, turning 40 now. Wants to break this record. He's okay with, equaling a record, but everybody wants to break a record. Being with Mercedes, 2013 till present, winning 6 world titles with them. For you as a fan, as an observer, as a journalist, where does this put now the competitive edge back into the sport?
I think it's massive. I think it's because it's the type of news that we've all hoped would happen, to be completely honest with you. If you have a look in history, you look at all of the drivers who have made a late switch to Ferrari to try and bring them back to championships. Vettel was the last one who went from Red Bull, trying to get them back into form. Didn't quite happen. Before him, Schumacher. Before Schumacher, you had people like Mansell and Prost. All of the greats of the sport have gone to Ferrari. It's the romantic team. It doesn't matter who you support on that grid as a F1 fan. you're sort of still a Ferrari fan as well. If you don't follow F1, you know Ferrari. And similarly, in the last few years, if you don't follow F1, you know Hamilton. So for him to move to Ferrari is big news for F1. From a sporting context, it's got a lot of different connotations, really, because now you've got Charles Leclerc, who is definitely, you know, one of F1's brightest talents. If Charles Leclerc is up against Lewis Hamilton and beats Lewis Hamilton, does that tarnish Lewis Hamilton's reputation? Does that tarnish his legacy? On the flip side, if Lewis Hamilton comes in at the age he is now and beats Leclerc straight away in what's essentially Charles Leclerc's team, does that tarnish Leclerc's reputation? So, and that's just within the team as well. That's before you figure out where Ferrari are going to be with Red Bull and whether Lewis is going to be able to fight with Max Verstappen again like they did in 2021. I think that's the main driving force behind it as well, the fact that he lost the championship in that way. So many connotations that can come from this. I think just from a fan's perspective, as someone who's always loved the sport, seeing, in inverted commas, the greatest driver on the grid, arguable because of what Max has done the last few years, but take it statistically, the greatest driver on the grid in a Ferrari is only good news.
And just finally, what does this do for TV viewership ratings? I know that when I look at a guy like Tiger Woods, and we all know what he did for golf, what does this do now for Formula One and television?
I think it's very interesting what you said earlier at the start of this. Is you said it's transfer deadline day for football or soccer. And you know, in the UK, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but in the UK, a big deal of it is made on the news channels that it's transfer deadline day. And all of that stopped for 30 minutes, an hour straight away, and it's still been filtering through and through and through. But it all stopped this morning for Hamilton, for F1, for Ferrari. Like I said, everyone knows Ferrari, everyone knows Hamilton. So the fact that if you're new to the sport, if you're trying to get into the sport and you instantly know who that team is and who that driver is, you've got a connection to grapple onto and then sit through a Grand Prix weekend watching qualifying, watching a sprint race, watching a Grand Prix. It's hugely important for a new market, especially. In Italy, will that help Ferrari? No, they're still trying to get a first championship since 2008. Will that make the passionate Tifosi think, oh right, okay, we need to sit up and pay attention because Lewis thinks we're good enough for him to come here, maybe we're onto something? That could be something to look out for. But in general terms, I think it is just the romance of it. I think it's just the romance of it, and I think it will get people switching on and commenting on social media about F1 very much like Hamilton versus Verstappen did a couple of years ago in 2021. I think it's that big a deal, really.
Massive deal, sensational, all sorts of words, sorry, to describe what has happened here today. Ewan Gale, Formula One journalist, Racing News 365 lead editor, joining us right here on Marawa Sports Worldwide. Ewan, as always, thank you so much indeed. We'll be tracking the story.
No, thank you very much.
All right, highly appreciated, man. As I said, just trying to look at other news feeds as well. I saw Joe Pompliano's tweet earlier on saying that Lewis Hamilton had an incredible run at Mercedes. The Mercedes F1 team received about 25% of all TV time during its championship winning seasons, and its valuation increased from $400 million US dollars to $2.7 billion US dollars.
Marawa Sports Worldwide, taking you around the All-Africa Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 23 in Abidjan, Bouaké, Koroko, San Pedro and Yamoussoukro. #MSW Afcon.
You're missing out if you haven't tried Lotto Star's live games. Looking for card, dice or money wheel games? We've got it! Bet now on our popular blackjack, roulette, poker, game shows and baccarat games and stand to win payouts of up to 10 million rand instantly. Bet now on lottostar.co.za, your world of live games.
Lotto Stars, licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
A phone that records, writes and summarizes your meetings for you? Who lives like that? Circle any object, search it, and find it. Who lives like that? Speak many languages on the spot. Who lives like that? Who lives like that? You do. Galaxy AI is here with features like Note Assist, Circle to Search, and Live Translate. The new Galaxy S24 lets you feel AI at your fingertips. Epic, just like that.
This year, why don't you fly better? Book your flights with Emirates to a holiday in Dubai, London, or Mumbai. Look forward to delicious local food. Enjoy complimentary premium drinks and relax to your favorite movies on the way. Because it's not just about the destination, it's how you get there. This year, fly Emirates. Fly better.
At Mr. D, the D's for done. Done even when the lights go out and you aren't done cooking. We'll get dinner done, groceries done, treats done, and pet food for you done. When things look like they may be undone, we'll be the ding-dong to fix things that have gone wrong. There's no queuing without done. You're always number one. Get it fast and hot at your 9 to 5 or your 6 to 10. Whenever done. For restaurants, groceries, and everything in between, download the Mr. D app. The D is for done.
There's no place like House & Home for stylish summer savings. Get the 323-litre Defy Satin Metallic Finish Water on Tap Bottom Freezer Fridge for only $6,499. Or buy the Restonic Aspen Queen Base Set for just $7,499 and get a mattress protector, fitted and flat sheet free. Free deal available on all Aspen mattress sizes. More savings online and in store. Valid at House & Home until 11 February 2024. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
He walks on this hallowed turf for the very first time. Bareng Bartukorjas, good to see you, sir. We're looking for happiness. Did we find happiness last night?
We sent a message that reverberated from Cape to Cairo that after all, there is a team in South Africa that can play this round-shaped pigskin called football. Bafana under Hugo Bruce, who I like to call these days Bafana Bruce. I don't think did the unthinkable. It was expected. Bafana has been serial heartbreakers for many years. And 96 gold, Clive Barker, and then it was a slippery slope. There were moments where we didn't even qualify.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Yeah, very excited. It's an anniversary. It's the 1st of February, 1 year of hashtag MSW. And I think when you track your mind back as well to the very first guest that we had on the show, can you remember?
Sepp Blatter live and exclusive to 947, Vuma FM, Rise and Sowetan Live.
Former president of FIFA, live from Switzerland, Mr. Sepp Blatter.
There was so much criticism before the voting the World Cup to Africa because the colonialism that they put Africa in a special corner. And this hurts me. This hurts me definitely. Always when they speak about racism and whatever they do with Africa. For me, Africa deserved this World Cup and they have done it well, very well. It was one of the greatest World Cups we have ever faced in all aspects. Africans living here, living around Europe, when they saw me, they recognize me, and they are always my friends because they know that I'm a friend of Africa. I'm really a man who loves Africa.
Hashtag MSW.
Dade Blatter, we have no arguments with you about how much you loved this continent.
Marawa Sports Worldwide, crossing live to Africa Cup of Nations Cote d'Ivoire 23. Hashtag MSW Afcon.
Hi Rob, Malama here from Ramsey. Rob, I just want to, I didn't congratulate Bafana after they beat Morocco, but I predicted the score. I knew Bafana will win that game because I know what is happening with these Northern African countries. After 20 minutes, they can't be the same, and they get emotional, and after that a team with that composure Bafana has got now, it's easy to beat them. But Rob, and I'm going to emphasize this, let not Bafana behave like us spectators and underrate Cape Verde. That would be very dangerous. I've seen that team since the tournament started. It's not a pushover. Bafana must go with a mindset of saying, we are still in this tournament and we are playing a giant like they did with Angola, with Morocco, and maintain their discipline. They've got a qualified coach who understands African football. I don't see them underrating that team. So we're just proud in Southern Africa that Bafana is raising the flag, and we are all behind them, and we'll be at the airport. We'll be at the airport, obviously. But we don't want to be at the airport and start watching the final with them in our houses. We want to be at the airport so that the tournament is over. Thanks, Rob.
Oh, but I love that. I think that's subtle. You know, when you're subtly saying to someone and you're communicating positivity, that is what that voice note was all about. But thank you very, very much indeed. The main focus of it is that we must not underrate Cape Verde, and we will not. The history, as we mentioned in our conversation last night with Bareng Bartukortias, that there is a history with Cape Verde. And at times, it's not a good history. So underestimation will be our biggest downfall, says. We need to go to the airport, but not with them back in the country watching from their homes. I heard him mention something about qualified coaches. Maybe that's a direction that the conversation is going to take us through to now. And just as any part of the beautiful game, every now and again, there is a bit of a need, though, to revamp, rejuvenate the regulations. Well, the latest rules, though, set to be implemented next season, so far as coaching in South Africa is concerned, has, to put it mildly, ruffled the feathers of the coaches and also the South African Coaches Association. Why they're not happy? They're not pleased, to say the least. And to try and break the story down, let's catch up with former Banyana and also youth national team coach Greg Mashilo, who leads up SAFCA as their president. Greg Mashilo is the South African Football Coaches Association president, live in studio. Ndate Mashilo, good to see you, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Robbie, for having me, and thanks to the listeners.
Why do they ruffle your feathers? Now, this is an ongoing scenario, and we've got to paint a proper picture. Is that the South African Football Association, as the mother body of football in this country, are demanding a whole lot more from coaches, but they're not giving them enough time to adjust things. And you're saying, no way, you've left things to be rotten for decades and decades, and now all of a sudden you're waking up and then wanting to build a mansion in 2 weeks. Tell me more.
Yes, Robbie, correctly. You know, since that circular went out of the coaches, it was under discussion with Safa, and we listened to whatever they were been saying. But now, it gave us a lot of concern when most of the coaches started now to call us. Hey, Mr. President, are you aware of these regulations? We said, yes. We have to take heed of those regulations. We have to do that. They said, no, but look at this. We are now 6 months away from the new season. When you say the new season now, people will think it's some few months away, but
it's this year.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's here 6 months. And for us to cover all these demands or requirements by the regulations is going to make us a very tough. Unfortunately, most of the coaches are going to lose their jobs.
But then who regulates that? Who regulates when the season starts? Let's say the season started, they've gone off to preseason, and then you have to have somebody then who looks and says, coaches, do you have a CAF B license? Coach, do you have a CAF C license, or do you have a CAF A license? Who will be the one to regulate, especially all 16 teams within the Premier Soccer League?
Well, in paper it is Safa.
Yeah.
But Safa mustn't do that alone. Safa has to consult. He must talk to PSL, must talk to the Coaches Association, because these are the people who are now always crying to us to say, now, you are the Association of Coaches. Be our mouthpiece at Safa.
Have they spoken to you?
Well, with these regulations, I will say no.
Have they spoken to the PSL? Do you have any knowledge if they have?
I don't have any knowledge to that effect, because as it is, PSL is regulated by the NSL rules and regulations. Now, maybe they have spoken to them, I don't know.
But you're not aware of it, because as SAFCA and you as the president, if you haven't spoken to the National Association of Football in this country, then what is the ultimate, I won't even say goal, because your goal is to not implement. Their goal is to implement.
Yes.
So now you got the two clashing almost in the beginning. But the season will drag on. Afcon will come to an end. The season will resume, end, and then restart again as a brand new season. So then what happens when people have defaulted? People have got contracts. Coaches have got contracts. So if they've got 5-year contracts, but they don't have the prerequisite qualification, then what happens to them?
You know, it's a lot to be done, Robbie, because, you know, as of now, being the president, I don't know what's happening between Safa and PSL, whether they've discussed it. I don't have any communication to that effect. Neither as a member of the Safa Technical Committee we ever heard about that.
Sure.
I'll be telling a lie if I said now I have knowledge of the talks between PSL and Safa. I'm just mostly looking at the local structures of Safa, where now I'm mostly placed with all these coaches.
Yes.
Because our members are from the amateur coaches until professional elite coaches. Now, all these coaches, when they cry, we cannot say, yes, we know about this thing, whereas we haven't been aware, neither been consulted. You know, it's so hurting because the truth is very heavy to some other people.
Yes.
And as we are telling the truth now to say, I'm not aware of any, you might find tomorrow I'm in a big problem or in trouble to say, now, you knew about this thing, you were in such and such a meeting. Yes, I wasn't part of the meetings sometimes, but now the final issues, I wasn't there.
And what's your association's relationship like with the technical director of Safa?
Well, once again, Robbie, you know, since the technical director came, we said only once in a proper meeting after the appointment as a member of the technical committee. But with SAFCA, we have written many letters. I'm the scribe of those letters.
Yes.
And I only received acknowledgement of receipt. But to address the content of that letters, until up to date, there's nothing.
But do they recognize you, though? Because sometimes when people pull those stunts, it's almost like they don't recognize the formation of the association. Do they recognize SAFCA?
SAFCA is an associate member of Safa. It's in the statutes of Safa.
And 30 years, I'm sure. What is it, 32? 32 years now?
32 years now.
Yeah.
And we are in good standing. We present our financial statements and as and when they are demanding those. We have complete the metrics. But now, the relationship between us, SAFCA, and the technical director, we don't know why is he not giving us a hearing. Because we are a mouthpiece of the coaches. He is the mouthpiece of Safa. And if we can sit down together, the better for us.
But do you sense, though, that there is some form of tension because it does not make sense? And that is why I was saying that if there is a recognition agreement, and you've stated very well that it's there within the statutes of Safa, then they should be responding, not just saying, yes, I've received your email, thank you very much, and life goes on. Are there bigger problems between SAFCA as well as the association, and especially within the technical director's office?
Well, not between Safa and SAFCA, but with the technical director, I won't say. Maybe there's something else. As you see in our press release, maybe there's something he's hiding from us. We don't know.
I mean, it was a hard-hitting,
Yes.
it was a hard-hitting press release that you released the other day. And I was just going to grapple for words and say that you actually called Safa. You were saying that they're becoming an extremist and reactionary organization. Why do you say that?
Well, because, they react to what is happening without taking heed or researched whatever is happening. Because if I come with an idea and say, hey, Robbie, here's an idea for you. Come in. I want you to start talking, Swahili in this.
Yes.
You don't research and say, now, what is your audience? Are they going to understand Swahili? And if there's a research to that effect, yes, you can change. But don't react to anything that comes in. That's why we say reactionary. Maybe these new ideas from the TD are something to behold. We don't know.
But you're not impressed, though. If there was something to behold, they are to behold in different sectors, but not in the SAFCA sector.
Not in the SAFCA sector, because our coaches are going to suffer.
Let me take it step by step. So within the Hollywood Bets League, So Hollywood Bets, for those that don't know the Super League, that's a women's league.
Yes.
Right. And now there is a call that all the goalkeepers within the Hollywood Bet Super League
Yes.
should be from South Africa. Is that fair?
It's not fair. How many coaches did we train or develop from youth, from the local structures of Safa? How many goalkeepers do we have? Our goalkeeper trainers who are now in the Safa structures, how many of them have they taken heed to go and do a goalkeeper coaching course at the local structure? Let's say at Paddy in East London, far away, where you travel, you use many types of transport before you reach that place, or to any rural area. There's none as of now. Most of the things are done somewhere else. And for instance, Safa, the Hollywood Bets is not only for Gauteng. And the teams are from very far away from all this civilization. Let me say so just for lack of better words.
Sure.
But now our goalkeeper coaches haven't been there. Now, if you say now you need only goalkeepers from South Africa, how many will you have? None.
But do you understand the rationale behind it? Is it explained to say only South African goalkeepers must play in the Super League? Do you as an association actually understand why?
We don't understand why, because if we could have understood what's the reason behind, we could have been quiet and assist. But now we can't assist because even SAFCA there's closed doors behind. We are sidelined in order to assist to develop more coaches. And in that fashion, there's none. From the database, there's none that we can reach that quota of all the qualified, available, to that level. Serious needed coaches. Because at that level, we don't have. And as of now, I'll be wrong. Because if we knew the rationale behind, our coaches will be happy to say, now we're going to get jobs now.
And they don't, though, because...
They don't. They're going to lose jobs instead.
And I believe that the league, there is an intention to increase it to 18 teams now. The Hollywood Bet Super League.
Yes.
So you increase the number of teams and participants, but then you're decreasing the goalkeeping
structure. And it's very hurting, Robbie, because Safa as of now, to overhaul all these technical aspects, they need a lot of time to develop coaches in order to be able to have proper things done accordingly. If something is happening in Europe, South Africa is a different country.
Yeah.
We are different from those. The diversity of us here needs a lot of work to be done before you can put a regulation to say, now, this is what needs to be done.
I mean, I see at times what people try to say, but also we work within a constitution in this country which hopefully does overrule many things.
Yes.
So I think one of the things, while we talk about the Hollywood Bets, the Super League, has to do with that no foreign goalkeepers are allowed from the start of the 2024-25 season. No foreign goalkeepers are allowed. I mean, from your knowledge, and you've been in football for many years, is that language, that terminology, even something that we can entertain? Is that even allowed?
It's hard to say that, Robert, especially to the kids that you know.
Yeah.
Because you won't have any. If you stop something not to happen, that's why we say we mustn't be reactionary. We must be having provided such measures to have those goalkeepers. If we had those measures since the inception of the Hollywood Bets or when women's football started and started to train the coaches or goalkeepers, I would have been happy. We only have the Lucy Dumbata. We have only the Kalen sort as of now. Those are the few. Those who have started, even they have left, even being goalkeepers. Now for us to pin down the teams to say now, goalkeepers must be from South Africa.
Sure.
It's another story.
I mean, we don't have too much time to delve in, it being either a professional, semi-professional league or not. But we'll come back though after the break. Greg Mashilo is here. Here's my guest. Any questions that you do have for him, feel free to send us your WhatsApp voice notes.
Africa Cup of Nations, Cote d'Ivoire 23. Up to the minute, concise and reliable updates with Robert Marawa. #MSW Afcon.
Soccer fans, it's time to score the ultimate goal with Hollywood Bets. With a max payout of up to 30 million rand and over 100 soccer markets to bet on. Bet online now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Complex credit options got you hitting snooze on your goals? Ask what's better. Choose simpler credit from Capitec and prioritize your goals. Get an education loan that pays for more than just fees, a home loan with up to 50% off attorney fees, or a vehicle loan up to 500,000 Rand that puts you in the driver's seat. Wake up to your dreams. Visit capitecbank.co.za to apply. Capitec. Better never rests.
Go from studies to success at the IIE's Varsity College. Go all the way to create the future you want and do it your way. Study online in your own time with an IIE distance qualification. Go the distance to succeed with an education by design at the IIE's Varsity College. Registration for 2024 distance studies is open. Inquire now. Varsity College is a brand of the Independent Institute of Education.
January is better at Checkers with SA's #1 in value. Save on deals like Clover Buttress Spread or Bonita Salted Butter, 500 grams, any two for only 140 Rand. Liquid Fruit 100% fruit juice blend. Buy any 3 and save 25%. And buy any 2 Huggies Gold Jumbo Pack or Extra Care disposable nappies and save 30%. Valid until this Sunday at Checkers and Checkers Hyper.
Pizza stories by Roman's Pizza.
Dough. No, not the moolah kind. Pizza dough. Dough makes up half the taste of a pizza, right? Roman's Pizza makes fresh dough every few hours, which is very, very important because fresh is much, much better than frozen. Who likes to eat their toppings on cardboard? So you have no need to worry about the dough or the dough because you get any 2 large Savor flavor pizzas for $159.80. Roman's Pizza, best value.
Join the Best Value Network with Telkom and save up to 300 Rand when you purchase any selected Telkom prepaid device at our participating retail partners. Plus, you get free 5 gigabytes anytime data, 5 gigabytes night surfer data, and a 25-minute all-network voice bundle once off with every purchase. Offer available at your nearest Pep, Ackermans, TFG, Mr. Price, and other participating retail stores. Get it now.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Barang Bartu Korchas, good to see you, sir. Where are the top 5 African teams at the CAF rankings? Number 1 is Morocco, back in Rabat. Senegal are back home. Tunisia, they are back home. Algeria, they are in Algiers. And of course, Egypt, Mo Salah's Egypt, they are back in Cairo. This is a tournament that has thrown so many surprises. He says we are not underdogs. No minister, no coach. We went there as underdogs and it suits us just fine because we are under the radar. No one is taking us seriously.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Well, it's been good, you know. I think also it just gathered us together to see the brotherhood and learn more about one another, you know. And I think we are becoming more than just a team who wants to play football. I think we are becoming more than that. We are becoming more aware of one another as people off the field, as family men. So yeah, I think it's been good. It's been very good. You know, when everything starts to sink in, when reality starts to hit, and you know everything, you know, comes at once, and you get to understand the reality of where you are and what is going on, you know, and you get to look at the team that you have just defeated, you know, and you just don't really have a sense of making it make sense where you are. And, you know, it just felt like a dream at that moment. It just felt like I lost feel. I couldn't feel my body. I felt like it was more of a dream. Yeah, it was not my body experience. So that's why I just had to sit down and let it sink in, until that moment where I could feel that this is actually happening. This is the real world.
Your thoughts on Cape Verde?
It's a very tough team. I think the more we progress, the harder it's going to get. We've watched their games and they're a team that's willing to work very hard, So if you're playing against that kind of a team, you need to be on your A game also. They really want to work hard and we have to not match that. We have to beat that.
All right, you have to beat that. Tabang Munare on their stay at St. Pedro, also the Morocco moment and what it means, though, for Bafana Bafana as they head forward. 1st of Feb, first anniversary.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Welcome to the good life.
When Gavin Hunt is always hunting Believe, and we've hunted him down again. Coach Gavin Hunt, good to see you, sir.
Hello, Rob. How are you?
I'm as strong as can be.
Jeez, fancy place you got here, mate. Jeez, like it.
Welcome to the good life.
Yeah, well,
Chalk and cheese, huh?
Yeah, no, jeez, like you've come a long way, Rob.
Thanks, Gav. Thanks, Gav. Welcome to the family.
I'm proud of you.
Hey.
It's our anniversary.
#MSW. #MSW.
A big thanks to all the major shareholders of the show. As we tick that box of 1 year, and our guests on this historical day, Greg Mashilo, South African Footballer Coaches Association President, with us here in studio. I'll be taking your thoughts as well as we head towards the final stretch of the show. And, as we're chatting about that, one has just been pondering on a couple of things. There's a struggle to finish the league. Again, talk about the Hollywood Bet Super League with just 16 teams. So when you increase it to 18, how are you going to guarantee that you're going to finish? Because I can tell you categorically that Sundowns ladies, they played less games because they didn't have time to finish the league.
Yeah.
So then when you increase, then what are you increasing it for?
For more hardship for them.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think a more sober thought would be, because it hasn't been fully professionalized yet, is to actually decrease.
Yes.
Bring it down. Even if it's 14 or 12 teams, professionalize it, monetize them. At times, we've heard crazy stories of teams having to travel from Limpopo by bus, going all the way to Cape Town. Lives at risk, potential accidents. The state of our roads, as we know, is extremely poor. But surely, as an association, would you not be tabling that then back to Safa and say, okay, we hear your bold plans, but how about looking at just the simple, basic things first?
We need that platform, Robert.
Yeah.
If we can get that platform and we sit down with Safa, we enjoy the technical elements of football.
Yes.
With a discussion, without any egos or emotions, such things will come up. These ideas are there.
Mm-hmm.
The local structures are crying daily. And when you talk as the president, when you tell the truth, they put you aside, they sideline you. And that's where we find the hardship and we don't have answers for our people. If we could have that platform and sit down and discuss technical issues, then you'll see the prosperity of everything of football in South Africa. We need that time.
Yes.
We need sponsors that can help us out so that we should give ourselves time. We have a lot of workforce that can go and preach these things outside at the Safa structures. As of now, we are not sure whatever comes out from the national office is done correctly down there at the LFAs. Because technically, nobody is looking after all these technical issues. They're only looking at the administrative, which is part of the politics, which we don't want to tamper with.
The politics has always been the downfall of our football in this country, and we know that. And that is why till today, there's no love lost between the PSL and Safa. And it shouldn't be like that. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Greg Mashilo, that if you, as a coach, are going for your CAF B license, it's going to cost you 40,000 rand.
Even more.
Probably more than that now,
Yes.
More than that. The association, Does it offer that course? Does it offer a CAF B course, Safa?
To my knowledge, as of now, there was nothing.
There's been nothing.
Yes.
So they have to travel
to
foreign countries
yes,
at their expense.
Yes.
Paying this 40 plus at their expense.
Absolutely.
And then having to come back and show it.
Yes. And are they ready to be part of the technical structure of Safa?
No.
You can ask yourself.
But then how do we go about
Yes.
and around this? Because for me, that is a problem. That is a big problem to say the idea. I laud it. And we've spoken to the TD. TD is a good friend of the show. He's probably listening right now.
Yeah.
And there's no problem with that. And I think he's somebody that welcomes debate. And I would love to see a situation where both your association and the mother body
yes.
are able to sit down to improve the game, because we want to improve the game. We don't want imposters coming into the game to say that they can coach. Meantime, they've been pushing trolleys at supermarkets.
Absolutely.
We don't want that.
We don't want that.
Yeah. But then how do we get to that part where you say it costs so much, you have to travel outside of the country, but you're still demanding this to happen?
Robbie, technical issues are not simple. You must have knowledge of technical issues. It doesn't say tomorrow you have read a book about football, let's say running a training session, therefore you know football. No. We have to sit down. There are a lot of experts who are in South Africa. I can quote from since when we started Inception in 1992, the 11 coaches that were sent abroad to study and came back with all that knowledge. Those people are nowhere to be found as of now.
That was under the leadership of Hoskrita.
Before the leadership of Hoskrita.
Yeah.
The people that started the School of Excellence.
Yes, to Kevin Johnson's,
all those guys, yes. Now, if those people can be brought together and have funding for them to sit down, the lot of experience and the modern trends, we sit down, we discuss, not face value discussion or people calling by name to say, oh, it's Robert Marawa is long in the media, he knows about. No. People that can contribute to what we are supposed to be here in South Africa. And if that platform can be created and have funds, we have been asking for a boss berad so that all these technical people should come together, sit down and discuss. This is a teamwork football. It's not an individual work. You cannot play football alone. It needs a teamwork. And all those Conti Quebecers, the Kevin Johnson, the Solomons, the Booby Solomons, all those guys, the Sudesh Singh, I'm sorry to say, to name the names, but I have to do that because those people are available.
Yeah.
We need to sit down with all these people and discuss football of South Africa.
What, are they being isolated, do you think? I mean, these are people, Sudesh, we know his knowledge, we watch him on television, highly knowledgeable, somebody that knows the game inside out. So why not utilize them more? What do you think is the problem?
The problem is when we come to sit at the platform round table where we have to discuss this, they point fingers. Who's this one? From our mother body, who is this one? And that's where it matters most.
Sure.
I have a lot of people from SAFCA who are carrying me.
Yeah.
I'm now nothing without those guys. My supporters behind me, those who carry me, go and look at that knowledge they are carrying. What I'm giving out to the people outside here, they even want to call me professor, is nothing. We need to sit down and discuss the South African football, give them the researched way of doing things in South Africa, the South African way, by the South Africans, for the South Africans.
Because I remember you've always been preaching, saying that a lot of the players look confused. They look confused because they've had so many coaches come in with different philosophies and they don't even know which philosophy they're supposed to entrust, because there is no guided philosophy. I mean, we chatted yesterday with BBK and we talked about the success of the Spanish team, and it was largely because of philosophy. Barcelona.
Yeah.
That Barcelona philosophy then went through in the same way now. Sundown's philosophy transcends into Bafana and there is success that we can see. Let's check out what a couple of people are saying.
Evening, Rob, and evening to the president of SAFCA. Mr. President, since Mr. Walter Steenbok has announced the requirement of what coaches need in order for them to coach in the PSL, both internationally and locally? Have they since availed more courses for coaches to improve themselves, especially local coaches, in order for them to get to the certain standard that Safa has said they need to get to in order to coach in the PSL? And have they maybe spoken to coaches like Buti Makanyeza, who we know that maybe he's not a coach that has those requirements according to Safa? Have they tried to communicate to Maputi Kanyeza and try and help him achieve those courses in order for him to continue at Golden Arrows? Thank you, Mr. Robert.
Robert, greet you and the boss of the coaches in South Africa with a very good heart. There's one thing I don't understand. I would say 99% of all your guests, since I'm listening to you, when Safa and Danny Jordan gets spoken about, all of them say Danny Jordan must go because he's the boss of Safa. So he's got to approve all these things. So I don't know how he gets elected. Why don't they get rid of Danny Jordan? Thanks for your show. Mooi bly, Ben Richter.
Ben Richter, thank you so much indeed. I don't know which one of those hot potatoes you want to handle. We got 2 minutes of the show left. So the issue of Danny Jordan, is he accessible to you, for example?
No, that one is beyond my control.
Yeah,
because Danny is elected, it's not appointed.
Sure.
And we have to go for elections, and I'm not the person to take Danny out of Safa.
But is he accessible to you? Is he somebody that you as an association can approach and say, Danny, whether formally or informally, can we have a chat? Does he give you that scope, that ground?
Yes, he do give us scope to talk to him. Yeah. But now the people who work down there are the ones who sideline us, are the problem.
The previous voice note actually spoke about the availability of the courses and great questions, and says that, have they spoken to the coaches? Use the example of Maputi Kanyeza, young up-and-coming coach. Do you then just shatter his dream like that?
No, these coaches, they are vast. There's a lot of coaches in South Africa. And for Safa to reach those coaches must be through the structures. And we as SAFCA, we are able to go and reach our people down there. There was a letter that was given to us in 2012 to SAFCA from the national office to say, let SAFCA go and talk to the coaches around there and create technical structures. But you could have seen how the doors were locked. We couldn't even enter the offices of the LFAs, the regional offices, in order to talk and say, now, here we are, we want to talk about football in the sense of SAFCA, being an associate member of Safa, to come and do some work to create those structures so that people, Mabudu Kanyeza can go even to the local structures in eThekwini or Tumsundisi.
Yes.
We have those structures there to go there, and then you'll be helped from that.
I think we will follow this. We will track it. And I know that you've become extremely available in your very busy schedule. And Mashilo, I just made a calculation, and I think you know these numbers. 194 coaches organized in SA football, PSL, NFC, ABC, Hollywood, Super League. 194 coaches. Just give me a number. How many of those have got the required qualifications?
Oh, I will say plus minus 10.
Of 194?
Of 194.
That is crazy. Greg Mashilo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Robert, for having me.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Marawa Sports Worldwide, taking you around the All-Africa Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 23 in Abidjan, Bouake, Koroko, San Pedro and Yamoussoukro. #MSW.